Okay. Fantasy it's really important, I reckon, in current day culture. I mean, it's prevalent in all our movies and most of pop culture at the moment. In our books, it's in our movies, on TV, it's everywhere. It's sort of it's an escapism. Because the world, it's pretty shit at the moment. I think it's been pretty shit for forever, really. But right now is a particularly scary time, and that escapism that fantasy brings, it's a way that we can kind of sit back and kind of relax and let go of those worries for a little while.
Cut.
I want to just talk that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really important to our current day. It's a way that we can view. We can view our modern day society in a way that we hadn't really thought about before, that kind of problematizes it or provides different sort of ways to deal with it and to solve problems. Like if you look at Terry Pratchett, for example, he kind of mystifies and demystifies at the same time aspects of our culture and technology and just aspects of our modern world by transferring them into a fantasy setting and making them seem as if there's something magical or mystic about them, but making them alien to us. And through that, we're going to go. Hang on, actually, our current world.
Continue.
Well, our current world is pretty shit. There's a lot of really cool things as well. We don't need necessarily fantasy to find magic in the world. And the great way is that he does that through fantasy. He creates an escapism for us to find a link back to our own world so that we can find magic in the world. And I think that's really beautiful, that you can use fantasy as an escapism to find something good that's still in our world as it is. If that makes any sense at all, if I'm not rambling. Which is, and I think that's kind of, it's why it's so popular today. The fact that fantasy, it can just take us out of where we are and into another world. And often these worlds, they can be very similar to our own. Maybe not necessarily, in terms of their societies, but in the problems they face and the ways in which things play out. Like, if you look at, for example, Lord of the Rings, its use of the wars and that which are in Lord of the Rings, bear very close resemblance to some of our real life wars, and through that it kind of fantasy and the way that it interacts with the real world is very interesting, and I think it has a lot of threads I could go on.
You can continue.
Where was I? Yeah, so fantasy, it's both a way of getting out of our world and going back into our world. In both a way that's familiar and obscure, and it can do both those polar opposites at the same time, which is, frankly, it's amazing. It's amazing. I mean, I'm not just talking about, medieval fantasy, I'm just talking about fantasy in general. Fantastic worlds, like both in, stuff like Lord of the Rings or modern superhero movies are great examples, because they take kind of problems that are, they take problems of our world and they blow them up on a big scale, like a almost comically big comically big scale, and threads I could go on.
You can continue.
Where was I? Yeah, so fantasy, it's both a way of getting out of our world and going back into our world. In both a way that's familiar and obscure, and it can do both those polar opposites at the same time, which is, frankly, it's amazing. It's amazing. I mean, I'm not just talking about, medieval fantasy. I'm just talking about fantasy in general. Fantastic worlds, like both in, stuff like Lord of the Rings or modern superhero movies are great examples, because they take kind of problems that are, they take problems of our world and they blow them up on a big scale, like a almost comically big comically big scale, and like that or like that.
Yeah. Okay, we might have to head back.
Okay. Alright. Yeah, it's a cool play. It's a musical. It's been my dream to be in a musical since like early high school. So it's cool to actually be accomplishing a dream, which is more than a lot of people can say, I'm sure. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's really cool.
Cut. That's alright. Ready for now.
Caution on my glasses.
There's some kids over there, but I think they'll be alright.
Should we avoid them?
No, I think they're like 12-year-olds. They'll probably leave once we... Let's go this way.
Alright. Yeah, it's a cool play. It's a musical. It's been my dream to be in a musical since like early high school. So it's cool to actually be accomplishing a dream, which is more than a lot of people can say, I'm sure. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's really cool.
Cut.
This one's an even better story, actually. Alright, so when I was little, my aunt moved into a new house, and they had these huge steps, at least huge to a very tiny child. I think I was like 4 or 5 at the time. And I fell down them, and like I split my lip open. It was like serious business. Had to go to the doctor, and the doctor's like, alright, cool, well, we gotta stitch it up. We gotta give him stitches on his lip. Or else he'll be, like, his lip will be disfigured when they need plastic surgery. And so he brings out this needle, stitches up my lip, and I turn to my dad, and I say, Dad, you promised you'd never let anyone hurt me, and he's going to hurt me. And of course, my dad was like, oh my god, of course. And he turns to the doctor and he says, do not stitch him up. Alright, can you do something else? And he was like, oh, we've got to stitch him up or else he'll be disfigured, he'll need plastic surgery. And he's like, if you touch him with that needle, I will punch you in the face.
Yeah.
And he was okay, we'll put plastic, not plastic, we'll put butterfly clips on him and butterfly band-aids on them, and but it'll still have a big scar on it. Like, if he needs to, we'll pay for plastic surgery in the future. But, you know, he's my son. Don't need me to do anything in particular. Just chill. This is a really nice area.
So you're fine?
Yeah.
You need to get it or?
No.
Alright.
It's just my my relatives going, hey, we're doing this and this and this.
Okay.
They've created a group chat with all my family while they're here, and so everyone knows, like what they're doing. So if anyone wants to join, they can.
Alright. I wonder if you actually share this shit. So I'm trying to pull up trees.
So good. Do you want me to turn off my phone? And, like,
No, you can. It's.
Check if they are going on.
That's fine. See if you actually share it. I'm filming now. Do you have to use the toilet for anything, or you got to use the toilet, or?
I'm good.
Is it weird just filming like being filmed like this?
Not particularly. I'm just thinking, like, which way we gotta go.
Yes, left.
That was